Welcome back to the Wargaming Den. I've got a different type of report for you this week. This past weekend has been an annual Wargaming tournament down in Dunedin at the bottom of the South Island of New Zealand called Southcon. It's been running for a long time now. I haven't been to it probably in 7 or 8 years, but a few of us arranged to have a Kings of War competition as part of it to try and showcase Kings and generate a bit more interest. So the next few reports will be to show how my army went during this little competition. So had a few games of the Ogres, getting them ready for Southcon, and then at the very last minute had a game with the Elves and decided I actually quite like the Elves, so I ended up taking Alpha Army instead and hurriedly got it finished off. So one game under my belt, not a lot of fine tuning to the army, came up with something that I hope was going to be semi-competitive. So I took two regiments of Palace Guard, my thoughts being that as regiments I'd hopefully be able to manoeuvre into flanks and things a bit easier than if I had them as a horde. Took a Sea Guard horde, wanted them to be the centre of my line, would have liked to have given them a hammer of measured force. In the end I decided to give one of the Dragon Lords a boomstick, which I'd probably swap that out and take the hammer in future using them. A regiment of Quicksilver Lancers, the upgraded nimble version of the Stormwind, very useful unit to have, and I wanted them to work with the Draken Riders horde, which again is a solid centre to the army. Love the Mantic resin Drakon models, beautiful miniatures, highly recommend them. Wouldn't put 6 on a base, 3 looks fine as far as I'm concerned, and I'd use them with only 2 figures for the regiments. And I've got an Elven King on a mount with a sharp blade, wanted him zipping around annoying individuals and throwing his 5 attacks in now and then if I could. 2 Dragon Lords, one, as I said, I gave the boomstick. Thought being, let's turn him into kind of like a mini dragon and do a bit of sniping with lightning bolts here and there. Maybe not the best use of 25 points, but hey, it was worth a crack. And I've got 2 wizards with lightning bolts. One I gave the Inspiring Talisman so he could stay with the infantry core of the army, inspire them. And yeah, that's it really. So 11 units, 20 unit strength. So wasn't sure how I would go. I went into it hoping to get 2 wins and would have been very happy if I could get a 3rd win under my belt with them, because as I said, very new to using elves, very different to the ogres, and not a very forgiving army as it turned out in a couple of the games. But anyway, we'll move on to that in a wee bit. And a bit of a close-up of the army. Most of the figures are actually from the GW Lord of the Rings figures. Love the style of those elves. I think they did a great job of capturing the aesthetics of the elves. So using the Gladenheim for the bulk of the army, made both the Sea Guard and the Palace Guard out of them. My Stormwind, again using GW Gladenheim Knights in the front rank. Couldn't get another box of Knights to finish them off, so I chucked some Riders of Rohan, gave them Elven shields, painted them the same and for the second rank, and it worked okay. And I've also just got the GW Riders of Rohan. It's my Silver Breeze. I'll get some more of those, get some shields, some Elven shields, and again convert those to more elfy looking in future. But that was the army ready to go. And another little close-up of the elves as they assemble before the battle. And let's now have a look at Jeff's Ogres. Having played Ogres about 30 games in a row, I've got a fair idea what to expect and what I should do against them, but we'll see how it works out. Jeff's list is quite different to what I would take. He's got 3 scout troops of the Red Goblins. He's got a shooter horde, good long range shooting there, 2 siegebreaker hordes, 2 warrior chariot hordes, Gokamok, Nom Nom, and a warlock. So he's got quite a bit of speed between his scouts and his chariots, and the hard hitting siegebreakers. So my plan is to try and shoot the chaff as quickly as I can and avoid the other units, because as much as I can, because defense 5 and defense 6 with the Elves is going to be a bit of a struggle to deal with. But we'll see how we get on in the first game. Right, before we begin, let's just have a quick look at Jeff's Siege Breakers. He's done a really great conversion here. He's used the Mantic Berserker Braves, which I think are some of their best Ogre sculpts in the front rank there, and he's scratch built some shields using plasticard and old GW shields out of his bits box, and they look very effective and very intimidating on the table. He's not finished them yet. He's only done the base coats and the first washes. He's got all his highlighting and stuff to do apparently, but even as they are, they're looking pretty good. And in the back there you can see his figure he uses for Gokamok, who again apparently is still a bit of detailing to do, but the units are looking really good. So let's get on with the game. And let's get underway. Game 1. Mission is kill. Okay, let's have a look at deployment. So I tried to spread the ogres out as much as I could. Had a Drakon Lord in the far corner opposite the Goblin Scouts there. Palace Guard flanking the Sea Guard, had both wizards tucked in beside them. Drakons height 4 could see over the top to offer a bit more protection there. On this side I wanted to try and stay out of line of sight of the shooters using this hill here as cover. I've got the Quicksilver Lancers, the Silver Breeze, Drakon Lord tucked in there with them, and the King as well. So what I was hoping to do was to take out the shooters. I wanted to just hold up the ogre chariots as much as I could, and then hopefully roll up that flank, all going well. However, on the ogres side of the table, they had their own cunning plan. So they had some Goblin Scouts out wide to try and flank me, but as I said, I thought my Drakon could deal with them. 2 units of Goblin Scouts in front of his chariot chariot regiments, so acting as chaff there. 2 units of Siege Breakers, and then he had one of the Siege Breakers. He actually had the Diadem of Dragonkind, which was a pretty cool item to have with them. He's got Gokamok in behind there. Nom Nom is here, and I think the other Warlock is tucked in behind here. So let us get underway. And again, just from a slightly different angle, you can see the 2 armies getting ready to rumble. And here we have turn 1. Made a bit of a rookie mistake here. Put my Silver Breeze on the hill. I was thinking I'm going to charge down off this hill with Thunderous One and take out the ogres. I should survive the shots coming at me. What I should have actually done is probably put them on the leeward side of the hill so that they had some cover. Because what I forgot was actually we've got Nom Nom here with about 6 lightning bolts. And then we've got the Siege Breakers here who moved forward, who have the Diadem of Dragonkind. So there was quite a few fireballs coming down wind as well. And end result, no more Silver Breeze. So that was a really silly start to the tournament by me. But good move by Jeff. Jeff got the first turn actually, and as you can see, he advances pretty quickly with his chariots screened by the scouts. This scout here, I managed to pin with my wizards that had gone forward to the edge of the terrain, and also with my sea guard. So that was, and I think I'd got a couple of maybe 3 or 4 wounds on the shooter horde as well, and from just a slightly different angle, pretty much the same shot. And on to turn 2. Jeff wasn't mucking around. See the beautiful positioning of my 2 wizards here? The idea being that they would be speed bumps if necessary. Turns out I put them so that the goblins could go straight through the middle of them and hit the sea guard. Whoops! And a regiment of chariots smashed into the palace guard here as well. So Jeff was coming at my army pretty quickly at this stage. Not sure of all the details, but the sea guard destroyed the goblin scouts, and the palace guard here took care of the chariots. Over here in the woods, the goblins charged in at my Drakon Lord, and we spent a couple of rounds fighting here before he prevailed. And over here, a good offensive, the best form of defense, according to the palace guard. They charged into the other regiments of chariots to slow them up and give myself a bit of time. My response, the Quicksilver Lancers charged from here and smashed into the Shooters Horde, which I did a lot of wounds to and rolled really badly for my nerve check and only wavered them, which was not what I wanted to happen. I wanted to just smash them and then turn to face Nomi here. So I ended up getting stuck in a combat when I didn't really want to be. Drakon Lord and my king over here giving a bit of moral support as well. And here we have it from maybe turn 3 or 4, it must be 3. Because I got stuck in the combat with the shooters, Nom Nom hit the Stormwind in the flank. Only did 2 wounds though. The siege breakers here were firing fireballs and from their diadem of dragonkind, 4 wounds on my king. Chariots killed the palace guard, and now the Sea Guard are staring down a chariot regiment and the siege breakers. Things are not looking too good for them, but I've still got the Drakons in reserve there. And over here we were just grinding things away, but the Lord on the Drakon was slowly winning against the scouts in the woods. The Drakon Lord has killed the scouts over here. The Drakon Rider Horde has killed the chariots. I'm using the palace guard to screen against the siege breakers here. This was a rather disastrous attempt to kill a Gokamok. I've hit him in both flanks. I've got 50 dice from the Sea Guard. I've got 10 dice from the Drakon Lord. They're elite. I might have done 10 wounds and rolled 1 less than I needed to destroy him. Or might have been even less than that. The Sea Guard really fluffed it. Didn't get many hits at all. So rather than killing Gokamok and then reforming to face the siege breakers, I ended up exposing the rear of the Sea Guard to the siege breakers. So not ideal, not the way I'd planned it at all. Up here, the Stormwind have killed the shooters in that second round and have advanced after combat, while the king is sacrificing himself to slow down the other siegebreaker horde. And so, yes, the Sea Guard are indeed attacked by the siegebreakers from behind. What's that? 1836, 54 dice. And Gokamok destroyed the Drakon Lord as well. Yep, no more Sea Guard, no more Drakon Lord. My Stormwind is starting to take a lot of wounds from the fireballs from the siege breakers here and from Nom Nom. I was quite happy keeping these guys away from the rest of the combats, but I've now got Gokamok, who's on about 10 wounds, and the siege breakers bearing down on my last regiment of Palace Guard. The Drakon riders got hit in the flank here by Warlock, and the goblins, I did maybe I'm up to about 9 wounds there. So did a bit, but I was able to deal with that threat. Okay, my turn 3, maybe turn 4. The Lord on the Drakon has killed the scouts down there. The Dragon Riders have come in and killed the chariots. My Palace Guard are in here to try and slow up the siege breakers. The other siege breakers running around fireballing my king who's dancing around them. The Stormwind have seen off the shooters and advanced after the combat. And down here we have Gokamok. We have Gokamok facing this building. We have Gokamok being hit in one flank by a Drakon Lord and the other flank by Sea Guard. We've got 50 attacks from the Sea Guard. We've got 10 attacks from the Drakon Lord. They've all got elite, even though the Sea Guard only hit on 4s. I don't know how, but somehow I screwed up really badly with the Sea Guard. They only got maybe 3 or 4 wounds at most on Gokamok, and I failed the nerve test by 1 to kill him. So going into that combat thinking you are one dead hero with blast D3 with each of your hits, you are toast. Ended up instead that the Sea Guard were then opened up to being rear charged by the siege breakers and Gokamok ready to run amok against the Dragon Lord as well. So I should have won that combat. I completely screwed it up with the dice roll, and that was quite painful as it turned out. Okay, let's have a look. This is maybe turn 5. The Stormwind are running away from the siege breakers and Nom Nom, trying to get out of range of the fireballs. They're on about 6 wounds, and they're just taking more wounds each round, so they're trying desperately to get out of range. Down here, through the Palace Guard in to try and kill Gokamok. They failed as well. The siege breakers have taken care of the Sea Guard and have turned to face over here where I've got the Drakon Lords and the Drakon Rider and the Warlock. And the last turn, and the wheels have well and truly fallen off. The siege breakers have just run through my 2 wizards. The Palace Guard are still they're wavered fighting Gokamok. The Warlock had killed the Drakons. They were on quite a few wounds and they got hit by a lightning bolt. So I'm down to very wounded Stormwind running away, Drakon, and a Palace Guard. The siege breakers aren't anywhere near injured enough at all. But good close game. Can't remember the final score points wise, but we were pretty close. But the Ogres ended up taking it out. And so there we have it. First game at the tournament with the Elves, second loss being an Elf commander in a row, so at least I'm being consistent. I thought my plan was solid to try and take out the shooters and then scoot round the flank. Defense 5 and defense 6, they were always going to be pretty hard to take on from the front, the Ogres. But the real pivotal moment for me was that failed attempt to kill Gokamok when I had everything in my favour, and that really swung things again. Shouldn't have lost the Silver Breeze. That was a bit of a silly mistake as well, but Jeff played well. It was a good, fun, close game and a great way to start the weekend. So onwards and upwards, hopefully. So thanks for watching. Hope to have another report of one of the other battles soon.